Good morning, Bucknutters. It is Tuesday, February 6, 2018. I'm Dan Rubin. This is the Bucknuts Morning 5 and Change, coming to you from a snowy Gem City, talking on Tuesdays, as always, to the inimitable Duane Long, who is coming from Columbus, also cold and snowy. Columbus and Dayton expected to get hit with 4 or 5 more inches of snow in the next 24 hours, so that's awesome, and by awesome, I mean terrible. We will move on because signing day, the actual official signing day, is tomorrow. And very important. Obviously, this system has changed a little bit with the early signing period, and the Buckeyes have most of the class in the fold. However, they are in the mix for 3 prospects, it seems like now, down the stretch. Given that it's Duane and his love of linemen, that makes sense for today. The 2 main targets on the board are the number 1 tackle in the country, Nicholas Petit-Frere out of Orlando, Florida, and Rasheed Walker, the number 6 tackle in the country, out of Waldorf, Maryland, and suburban D.C. So let's take these one by one. Nicholas Petit-Frere, Duane, has done about as good a job as any high-profile recruit I can ever remember keeping his vibe under the vest. He visited Ohio State this past weekend. We will have some boarding house information on that this afternoon, but it's not even the best we've ever had. What is your vibe on Nicholas Petit-Frere? Do you think he's worth the hype? And then do you think that he will be a Buckeye?
Well, I've been talking about Petit-Frere since last summer. I loved him the first time I saw him on film. Everyone's saying, if he's leaving the state, he's going to Notre Dame. I didn't want to hear that, and I was trying not to hear that. And here we are down to it, and we've got as good a shot as any. I think it's going to be Ohio State or Florida. Like you said, this kid is just not talking. Nobody around him is talking. Everybody is just trying to figure out what he's going to do. I think anything beyond speculation is more speculation. It's we just don't know what's going to happen with him. The kid, he's got all the tools, Dan, and he's something that we need. So much on the message board. Want the number 1 class, want the number 1 class. I really don't care. I think it's just so overrated. Yeah, it's fun being number 1, but it really doesn't matter. You got to plug holes. And offensive tackle, is definitely a hole. It really does. It impacts us greatly, getting a Petit-Frere in this class or Rasheed Walker. We need to add that kind of guy, that kind of talent. These are guys that can play left tackle. They're born to play left tackle. We got to try to get one of these guys in the class. It's really important. That to me is plugging holes. You got McFrey, right tackle. I just don't see him projecting the left tackle. It's really important that we land one of these 2 tackles, these 2 left tackles. Both of them would be even better, but we got to try to get one of them in here.
Do you believe they need to have a left tackle or a left tackle prospect in every class? We talk a lot about how many quarterbacks you should take in every class by routine. Are you one who thinks left tackle has to be in every class?
Yes, absolutely. You have to. I want a couple of tackles in every class. And you want to try to get a guy in here that you know is going to play center, which we've done. But tackles are everything. Tackles go at the top of the draft. I was looking back, and I'm going back into the about close to 20 years, and there's only been one time that more than 3 guards were taken in the first round, and guards even. There are only a couple of years that 3 guards have gone. Usually it's 1, maybe 2. There have been years when there were no guards taken in the first round. You go through and you're not going to find a class where that less than 3 went in the first round of the draft. They're that important. Tackles are everything. Tackles impact the passing game. You got to protect the quarterback, and most teams are going to attack off the edge. So getting these guys in here, and here's another thing, Dan. We're talking about the highest washout rate is offensive linemen. even more so than quarterbacks, guys that just don't pan out. So that's why I'm saying you need to try to get 2 tackles in a class, 2 guys that can play left tackle. You know, one of them can kick over to right tackle if they're both that good. So, yeah, you've got to try to do that. We have been just missing on getting tackles in here. Even when we've been getting them, so many of them have not been panning out. I mean, these are really unique athletes. These 320-pound guys that move well enough to, stay out in front of a 255, 265-pound guy that's running 4.6, 4.7. So you have to get them. You have to make sure that you secure tackles in a recruiting class.
Yeah, and you've talked about this a lot, Duane, is that you see tackles move to guard. You rarely see guards move to tackle. And that holds true for the NFL as well. The Redskins picked Brandon Sheriff, I think 5th overall out of Iowa a few years ago, thinking he'd be a tackle, moved him to guard, and are plenty happy with it. But you never see a guard move out to tackle. So, like you said, the versatility is super important, and they need to maintain that. You also address the fact they do have a center in this class, and Matthew Jones out of Brooklyn that they're real high on. And Max Ray is an excellent prospect, but like you said, he does look more like a right tackle. Should be interesting. I don't think right now I don't have great vibes on either Rasheed Walker or Nicholas Petit-Frere. I want to be wrong here, obviously, but I just don't have a great vibe on it. And I can see the next class just being a full court press on tackles. We will see. Bill Kurlick and company are locked in on this. One thing to note is Nicholas Petit-Frere and Rasheed Walker have announcements scheduled for tomorrow. Petit-Frere is at 10 a.m. at his school in Orlando, and Walker's is supposed to be at 11:15 a.m. But there's some thought that if Petit-Frere makes his decision, because he's undecided, he's going to let the teams know that right away. So while we have that scheduled, you want to keep it locked into Bucknuts because there could be breaking news any time here on Petit-Frere. And really, when you're in it this long for a guy this good, got to see it through to the end. Speaking of seeing it through to the end, we have a number of Buckeyes headed off to the NFL. That's going to become a major topic of discussion, far more intense on Bucknuts and elsewhere, especially after Wednesday when we shift kind of the season calendar here. I think everyone pretty much agrees that Denzel Ward is going to be the first Buckeye taken and has, right now, you'd have to say the brightest NFL future. Duane, of the other guys we know that are expected to get picked in the first few rounds, Billy Price, Tyquan Lewis, Sam Hubbard, Jalen Holmes, and Jerome Baker, who do you see as being the best pro?
I've been a fan of Jalen Holmes since high school. He's just such a super athlete, and you see what he did down there at the All-Star game. He was probably the most impressive guy there, definitely the most impressive lineman. He's got that kind of ability. He just has not picked up the technique as quickly. He's just a physical specimen. If you're building a rush in, he'd end up looking like Jalen Holmes. He's a long kid. He's got a great burst. He's just got to learn to use his hands better and, get in better body position where he can attack the edge. You want to, a rush end is a guy that, if they can get powerful enough to just bull rush, great. But mostly they want to attack the shoulder. They want to attack inside or outside. And he's got to get better at the technical aspect of it. I heard a long-time pro I read where he was talking about that's the difference. That's really the difference between an NFL guy and a college guy. You got college guys that are depending on athleticism, and but when you get to the NFL level, you've got to have the technical down, and that sums up Holmes. He's got that in him to be that kind of special guy. And I need to bring up Baker. If Baker played like he did last year, Baker is going to be a Pro Bowl guy.
When you say last year, hold on a sec. Let's be clear. When you say last year, I always love to clarify that. You mean the 2016 season?
2016, yeah. And
right
even
on.
at the end of 2017, he was playing that well. But he's got it. Tom Landry always said the mark of a professional is consistency, and we have not seen that out of him. He was great as in 2016. 2017, he disappeared for a good part of the year. He can't have that, and that's going to impact his draft status, because that's still something that the NFL covets, is guys that they know what they can get out of them week in, week out. So, but Baker does have that potential to be a Pro Bowl guy. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Baker fits the mold of the modern kind of beefed-up safety, moved outside linebacker that can run with Gronk, etc. If anyone can do that. But I agree completely. I think Baker's got a tremendously high upside. It does concern me, much like you talked about the big guys. Those big guys, when they get to college, they haven't played against a lot of other big guys. Sometimes they don't even like to get hit. There were times this year, and anyone who's listened to the show knows Baker was my favorite player in the class when he was recruited. I was super high on him. But I just thought there were times this year he didn't post. When you're that talented, it's kind of like when you're that talented and you show that ability to be that much of a playmaker, those are the expectations. You can't take games off. So I thought he was kind of a bellwether for the team. If good Baker showed up, we were good, and if not, the team tended to struggle. Last thing we're going to touch on is the recruitment, or lack thereof anymore, of Tavion Thomas. My understanding is Thomas and his family his party had a great meeting with Urban Meyer when they decided to reopen the recruitment, and then, as we know, the grades just became too, I think, steep a hill to climb, and then others may have convinced Urban to move on, and they've done so. You can expect Tavion Thomas to sign with Cincinnati on Wednesday. Duane, is this a big loss? We were excited to have him in the class. They do seem to have a few running backs. What's your vibe?
Well, it would have been a great get. I love the guy from the start. And we moved on from him once before because of grades. Then he goes to Oklahoma and commits. I mean, he had other great offers. He comes in late to Ohio State and as an official visit. Well, he signed with Cincinnati. This is all about grades. The kid just couldn't get in, and you can come up with other reasons why he would not be coming here, but you don't decommit from Oklahoma to go to Cincinnati. You don't visit Ohio State and then commit to Cincinnati. This is because he can't get in. And that's a shame. You didn't take care of business. And, it's impacted your choice in college. But I would love to have him. Three running backs, you can argue whether that's too many. But, you take the talent where you can get it. And the kid's definitely a bigger back, highly skilled. Love to watch him run. I mean, seeing those bigger guys have the great feet where they're making stuff happen in a small space, making people miss. He can do that, and he can run through tackles, and he's got a good speed. It's a disappointment he's not coming here, but that's just something you live with. He didn't get it done.
Yeah, we hope he gets it done at Cincinnati. I always pull for the Gem City guys. And Tavion's a guy who really has a bright future if he can stay, academically sound at Cincinnati. He's got a professional body and has a real chance. We appreciate Duane stopping by. Keep it locked in here, Bucknutters. Signing day is less than 24 hours away. We will have the latest, the best, and the brightest. Have a good one, Bucknutters.